Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Здравейте. Guten Tag. Ciao. Hola. Bonjour. Mambo VP. My name is Ayubu Mbarazi from Open Space Foundation, and I will bring you a podcast with the topic called Language and the People, as I started with different greetings from different languages. Today's podcast is all about language, and we're going to discuss about the challenges when learning a new language. I will start with a small explanation about languages, and later I have some guests in the studio which will discuss about the challenges and everything about language. And our case study will be Bulgarian language. So stay tuned and enjoy the show.
G'day.
Hey, what's the crack?
Hola.
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 ¿Cómo estás?
Pura vida. Xin chào.
Xin chào.
Xin chào.
Bonjour.
Bonjour.
Kamusta?
Kamusta? Kamusta?
Kamusta kayong lahat?
Marhaba.
Marhaban.
Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
Bonsoir. Bonjour.
Allô, ça qu'a fait? Plus tard.
Hello.
Hello.
Ciao.
Ciao.
Konnichiwa.
Konnichiwa.
Jumripsua.
Selamat sejahtera.
Sawadi.
สวัสดีค่ะ
Oi.
Hesi.
Merhaba.
Namaskaramu.
Ahoy.
Yate.
Minglava.
Bish abal.
Labas.
Gondayin. Sawe.
Namaste.
Shalom.
Ya. Minga boy. Dear quit.
Salam.
Ramu.
The project is carried out thanks to the financial support of the European program Erasmus Plus K-Action 2, Capacity Building in the Field of Youth.
Hello, lovely people. After a short break, I'll just start discussing about the language. So, what is language? What is language? If someone tells you what is language, some people say, okay, language is English, or language is Bulgarian, or language is Swahili, or language is the way you speak. So, just a short summary is that language is a method of human communication. When two or three people communicate in a different, in some way, maybe by vocal, which is speaking, or by sign, and that way of communicating is have a specific system, and they understand each other. That is language. So if you communicate just by signs, you see me, I wink at you, and you understand what I'm saying. That is language. But also, in language, we have like three kind of language. We have a spoken language, a written language, but also we have a sign language. And the most popular language is spoken and written. And sign also it is used, but it's not that very popular, because sign language is like part of the written and spoken, because a lot of people translate it in spoken and written language. So far today I'm going to talk about spoken language, but also going to talk about written language. In the world we have a lot of languages. Together we have like 6,909 spoken language all over the world, and Chinese language is the most spoken language in the world, because China have the biggest population in the world, and the number of people who speak Chinese, just Chinese, is 1.2 billion approximately. And the second language that is have a lot of people speaking is Spanish, and the third one is English. It's a little bit strange because English is spoken all over the world, but just to clear the confusion there is that China have the biggest population in the world, more than 1.2 billion. So just for the population that is speaking Chinese in China, and adding to other places that some people are learning Chinese, you get the Chinese have the most population when it comes to people who speak Chinese. But when it comes to languages that is spoken all over the world, cover the widest area in the world is English, because nowadays English is like spoken in all over the world. From that, I'll go back to spoken language and written language. So spoken language and written language in general have a lot of categories, and we have like Slavic language, we have Latin language. Latin is like English, Swahili, and other language, but also we have Slavic, which is Bulgarian, Russian, Macedonian. We have Devana language, which is like Hindi language, and we have Arabic and other form of languages. And these languages are different in system when it comes to phonetically, grammatically, even the way they write. For example, Chinese language, which is they call it calligraphy. The way it is written is very different from English, from Swahili, or from French or Italian. Is very different. The same with Bulgarian, or which is Slavic, Bulgarian and Russian. Both of these are also very different from English. The way they put their grammar, their alphabet letters, the way they write is very different. So the perspective of language is very, very wide in general. And today I'm going to speak a little bit about the language that I know the most, which is Swahili, Bulgarian and English, and try to elaborate a little bit how does it feel for you to learn Swahili or to learn Bulgarian or to learn English, or what kind of feeling would you get when you hear someone speaking Bulgarian or someone speaking Swahili. So I can say what kind of feeling you will feel when you meet someone who's speaking Swahili, because I speak Swahili since I was 1 year old, so it's nothing new, but I will speak a little bit about my experience in Bulgarian language and how was it. So stay tuned for a short break and then I will come back later.
Здравейте, казвам се Елена Марков и съм от България и много обичам моя език.
Hej, jag heter Alexander. Jag kommer från Malmö, Sverige.
Hola, mi nombre es Aida, soy de España y me encanta hablar español.
Back again, and I'll talk a little bit about my experience with Bulgarian language. I remember like 4 months ago when I came to Bulgaria just to attend the volunteering project that I'm doing right now. When we got to the airport, me and my friend, the first thing I heard was a strange language that I've never heard before, because I'm used to English and I'm used to Swahili. So when I started hearing Bulgarian, it was like, oh my God, what are they speaking? It's like some people just speak, because it's very different. In Africa we have a lot of ethnic groups with their ethnic languages, and I can understand that when they speak I can at least catch some words, catch the mood of the conversation and everything, even if I don't know the meaning. But when they spoke Bulgarian in the airport, I was like, okay, what is this? Because the way they're speaking, their accent, everything was different from what I used to, and I was surprised, and I doubted my ability to cope with it. I was like, okay, I'm in Bulgaria, and this language seemed very difficult, and will I catch up with it? But I say, okay, I'm in here, I will fight for it. Then another shock was when I met the written Bulgarian language, because the alphabet, the letters, the grammar is very different from English or Swahili alphabet, which is the same, because they use Slavic and I'm used to Latin, so it was difficult. For example, you find a letter ya in Bulgarian, but when you come to Latin alphabet, it's like ara reversed, which is like it's backward. So it was very difficult at first, but after a very good determination, I said, okay, I will do my best. And after understanding the alphabet, the syllables and everything, it became a little bit easier, because when I see someone speaking or I read something, I can Google it, or I can understand that why this sound comes off. Because sometimes we just, for example, someone say mlako, which means milk, and it's just strange at first. And after starting to understand it and few Bulgarian classes, I started to understand that Bulgarian is one of the very beautiful languages in the world, to be honest, because it's easy if you understand the text. It's very easy when you start to understand the text, because the grammar is very different from English grammar. You speak what is written, just like Swahili. If it's you won't say a or e. It's just and that's, to me, is very easy. But also when someone speaks Bulgarian, you can see how expressive it is. The word and the tone of the words, the accent is very expressive. It's easy to understand. But also, I just love Bulgarian, so that is my experience in Bulgarian language. But there's other things that was very interesting when I came to Bulgaria. When it comes to Bulgarian language, I found some words which are very, very close to Tanzanian words. When speaking Swahili, we always say that we borrowed some words from English, German, Spanish, but I've never read anywhere that says that Swahili language, which is my mother tongue language, had some words from Bulgarian. But one day I was talking to my supervisor, Violina, and she told me that a table in Bulgarian is masa. And I was like, what? Masa? But in Swahili, a table is meza. So they are very close. And now even in Swahili, we have different system in writing, like we use Latin, but they use Slavic. But in general, we have some similarities. Like the language is very expressive, just like Swahili. You read what you wrote. It's not like other languages, like you might write da and read it there. But in Bulgarian, you write da and you read da. In Swahili, you write da, you read da. That easy. So I just found that Swahili and Bulgarians, they have some similarities, but also they have some differences. At the end of the day, they are both languages, and they're very good languages. That's all for my experience with Bulgarian language. So I don't want to take your time, just listen to my voice, listen to my struggles with Bulgarian language. So the next session will be the discussion with some of my colleagues, and I would encourage you to stay tuned, wait for that discussion, because it's very effective, and you'll hear a lot about Bulgarian language, what are the challenges, what to know when it comes to Bulgaria, and things like that. Stay tuned.
Baleko basewo ne bannyabo, tubagala nnyo era twagala olulimi lwaffe Oluganda okuva mu waka.
Habari, jina langu ni Ayubu Mbarazi, natokea Tanzania na naipenda sana lugha yangu ya Kiswahili.
Hi, my name is Violina from Bulgaria, and I really enjoy using English language.
Hello, welcome to our podcast, Language and the People. And as I promised before, that we will have a discussion with very good people here in the studio. My name is Ayubu Mbarazi, and from my right, I'll start with
My name is Stacy, and I'm from Tanzania.
My name is Marshal. I'm from Sweden.
Hi everyone, I'm Violina from Bulgaria. Hi everyone, I'm Elena from Bulgaria too.
Okay, thank you, people. As the topic of the podcast is that language and the people. So we want to know the difference between Bulgarian language and other language like Swedish, Swahili, English, and other language that people knows. And we have like 6 or 7 questions that we discuss together and see different perspective from different people. So starting with the very first question, which is basic, I want to know from you guys, what is the difference between Bulgarian language and Swahili or Swedish, English, or any other language?
Yes, I would say it depends on what you compare it to. Bulgarian is considered to belong to the Southern Slavic language group, which differs from the Germanic languages and the Latin languages. Perhaps the most notable difference is the employment of the Cyrillic language. So if you compare, say, Bulgarian to other Slavic languages like Polish, which do not use the Cyrillic alphabet, I mean, that's one really obvious difference. Otherwise, some of the words can be traced back to the same roots. So you have the same words for say milk in Russian and Serbian and Bulgarian, for instance. Probably Polish as well. I wouldn't know that though. But that's one difference.
Okay. What about you, Violina?
If I say Bulgarian is the easiest language, I'm probably gonna lie. Okay, for me it's quite easy, but probably for you it's not so.
Yes.
Yeah, Bulgarian is quite easy for all Slavic speakers, like Russians and so on. I can say as Bulgarian speaker, for me it's quite easy to understand Polish and Russian, Czech, Croatian and so on. So that's the easiest thing for me.
What about you, Stacy?
Well, it's very different from Swahili because first of the alphabets, but I mean, I think Alex has already covered the difference part. I would say maybe the one thing that is quite interesting for me in Bulgarian is the pronunciation of words. In Swahili, you pronounce words as they are, and I've noticed the same with Bulgarian. Maybe very few words are pronounced a bit differently from how they're written, but most of them are pronounced, maybe because I'm learning, so I don't know that well, but that's what I see. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and the grammar, I think our grammar is really different and difficult, like structure. So yeah.
I found the grammar to be too simple in comparison to other languages. Say
Really?
Swedish is quite complicated in comparison to Bulgarian. This is like you read it phonetically. It's very straightforward. It's you have you doing something that's.
Yes, for us, for the Bulgarians,
exactly.
it's like this.
I found that to be the most difficult part about learning the grammar. In Russian, I was studying a little bit of that, and it's very similar to Bulgarian grammar. And I found it to be too simple to understand, actually, because I'm used to very complicated rules. So it's like, what? This doesn't make sense. It's too straightforward. What am I making mistake? What mistake am I making here?
Yeah, I think the Russian language is more difficult.
Oh yeah, it is. It is. Bulgarian grammar is much easier than Russian, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's very interesting. Let's to go to the next question. And I want to know, I know Violina went to Tanzania in days ago, and you've been to different places like Russia, Macedonia.
Not Russia, but
okay.
a lot of other places, yes.
Macedonia and Bulgaria, because you're from Sweden. So I want to know, what was your first expression when you had a different language, someone speaking a different language from what you're used to?
Well, before coming here, I had never actually heard Bulgarian at all. I had heard a lot of Serbian, Croatian, Macedonian in the city of Malmö, Sweden, because of the large diaspora of people from Yugoslavia there. And I started learning it there, and then I moved to Macedonia for 3 months, and I lived there. And then, you know, with a good sort of basis in any Islamic language, you have a very easy time to just transfer that knowledge to, in this case, Bulgarian. So even after just 20 days, I understand a good amount, but can't speak because it's too wonky for me still learning it. Anyway, yes.
What about you?
Oh, for me, I don't know. I had a prepared mind, I guess. So when I came to Bulgaria, because I expected to find only Bulgarians, and then I found Italians and Spanish, and then those were creepy because they speak so loud. But for Bulgarians, it was like I don't know. I was expecting, and also I already met Bulgarians, so I heard them speak before. So also YouTube helps. So I was like not so surprised, but I have noticed people looking at me very strangely when I speak Swahili, like in the tram. Like I'm talking and I'm usually in the moment because I'm talking to my best friend and I'm like yelling, and everyone is like, their eyes are super large, like what language is she speaking, because they're trying to understand but it doesn't relate to anything. But yeah.
What about you, Violina?
About Swahili, I can say this language is not so common here at all. Yes, you can hear Italian mostly on the streets and Spanish, especially in Vitushka district. More Italian than Bulgarian, I can say. But me arriving in Tanzania and hearing the people speaking in Swahili was like just people pronouncing some noise, some voices, and that's it. The only thing I remember was cuckoo, because Cuckoo in Bulgarian means like a bit crazy, and that's it. I just know this cuckoo. It's chicken, and that's it. I try to stick to English, you know.
Yeah.
Okay, but for me, first I love to travel, so the languages, the countries, and the culture, they're really interesting for me. So when I heard someone to speak different language, I'm with big smile because I want to know really the culture. I can say about when I was in China, it was really stressful for me because they're speaking really loud and like they're screaming, and I was shocked about the culture there. But it was a really good experience. Every different language is good experience.
That's nice. So, what are your opinion on when learning Bulgarian language or different language from Bulgarian? What do you feel when learning? What is your opinion actually?
I find it to be a very beautiful language, and once again, going back to the fact that it's one of the Slavic languages and they share a lot of common words and so on, I think that if you learn one of the Slavic languages, you have a pretty good understanding of, or a good basis to learn the other ones. So I'm very happy to be given this opportunity to learn Bulgarian.
Yeah, you're right about the Bulgarian. It's a good opportunity for the east part of Europe.
Oh yeah, very good, very good.
For me, maybe for the English or another language. It's really nice because you can speak with so many different peoples. English it's like the global. Yeah, it's global, and now we can see and speak and we can understand together. So it's open the time, the future, and the doors for everything.
I think in English it's way too needed everywhere, and unfortunately I started learning English quite late. Fortunately I succeed in some level, but about the language, it's quite difficult at the very beginning, but as much as you can gather the motivation to start learning and to see what benefit can bring you that knowledge, it's quite easy.
Well, for me, like I said before, the alphabets are quite very different, but I find it very fascinating, and I don't know, for me it's inspiring actually. I'm curious to know more. I want to know how to speak it because actually in Tanzania almost everyone speaks English and Swahili. So it's really hard to gossip. So I'm always thinking if I know one extra language and I can gossip with Ayubu, it's going to be awesome. So for me it's an opportunity to learn a gossip language. So it's fun for me. I mean, it's an adventure actually.
People with their reasons.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So, I know that Violina has been teaching Bulgarian.
How do you know that?
Because I'm one of your students. So I know that. So, what are the difficulties in teaching Bulgarian or teaching English for?
Do you want to start?
Yeah, now teaching Bulgarian or learning Bulgarian? Because teaching Bulgarian it's quite easy because I'm already a fluent speaker in Bulgarian. The only one difficult is to find a way to pass this knowledge to the students. I'm trying to find the easiest way, and I'm not really focusing on grammar as long as we are not having so much time. And for me it's important for you to know the basic things in surviving. So I don't feel any difficulties in teaching. Actually, I really enjoy it. And I hope to be useful for you.
Natural born teacher.
What about you?
What about me?
Yeah.
Learning or teaching English?
Teaching and learning.
Teaching English. Let's start with that one then. I think that since most contemporary media is produced and exported in English, like all your most of the music that you listen to, most of the movies, at least AAA movies and series, they're in English. So in exposing yourself, consuming this media, I think you will have a very easy time learning English, even if you don't do it in like a controlled setting like a class or anything like that. But I think it's easy because there's so much exposure to the language. I think it's very easy to learn.
That's nice. What about you, Elena?
I don't have so much experience like a teacher, but now I'm trying to give to my child a vision of the another languages. So I'm using English to speak with my 9 months baby. And yeah.
I can even imagine.
Yes, it's interesting process, but I think likes the song, so yeah, the basic stuff starting with.
Yeah, that's good.
Teaching?
Teaching, actually learning. You're not a teacher.
I am a teacher. Just in a very weird way. But I don't know, like I say, that it's all fascinating for me. Like language, I find it like an art actually. So it's like learning a new art or giving someone a new art, So I mean, no further comments.
Okay, so if you meet a foreigner and he asks you or she asks you what kind of words or sentences that he should learn in Bulgarian at first, what advice do you have for you guys who are already here and for you who are
like living here?
Yeah, living here. So what words or something that people should learn first when they come to Bulgaria in terms of language?
Racheal. Oh, what?
I think maybe it's good to start with Здравейте. It's good. And my favorite word on Bulgarian is Благодаря, because the meaning is for me it's really positive, and it's meaning I give you everything good. So that is my favorite word. And yeah.
Благодаря.
Okay, my most important words in every language that I'm learning first is how to ask for water and for food. Yeah, and I can say this in many languages. So yes, how to go to the grocery store and ask for things.
How to survive.
How to survive. How to ask for help. This is important. And of course to greet the people, because if you're not nice to the people, no one will help you.
Can you tell us in Bulgarian how to ask for water?
No, can you tell me?
Come on, I will try.
No, I can't.
Yeah.
Come on.
Really?
That means I'm not a good teacher.
You're now just giving out your secrets.
Okay, it's Iskam.
Iskam? Voda.
Okay. Okay, so you know it.
Exactly.
Thank you. What about you?
Yeah, I started learning Macedonian before Bulgarian, if you will, and the first word I learned was Czechai. Czech, because we were having a barbecue, and this guy who was telling me Czech, and I was flipping these steaks. I thought he meant like check it, like have a look at it. So that's a funny story. But anyway, back to the topic at hand. That's the first word I learned, and if I could go back and learn other words, it would be like asiskam, aida, kolkoe, just these basic phrases, so that you can get around. Because even if you don't know what something is called, you can still point at it and you can say, well, I want that, and you point at it. Or you can ask about the prices, stuff like that. Because I don't think I think you'll have a hard time finding people that are either know English or do not want to speak it to you in Bulgaria. So that's my experience.
Oh, that's good.
So I think learning some good basic phrases, that's very important. That's what I think, at least.
For me, it was more important to learn greetings first, because all I had to say was "Здравейте," smile, and it would be nicer. Happy birthday. And then I said maybe greetings and how do you put, like saying thank you, like blagodare. I kept forgetting that word for some reasons, and I kept checking on Google every time. But it was sometimes I couldn't answer what they say, and when they're done, I'm like blagodare. Aha, I know. You know, so they will smile, and yeah, I think it's best to be polite actually, because at least they see that you're trying. You know, in any language actually, even in Swahili, I would advise the same. Like for you to know how to greet and say thank you, because people really care about the little details like greetings, you know, and yeah.
And it's cute.
Yeah, and it's cute also. It's really cute.
What about you, Elena?
I told you.
Oh,
yeah.
It was the first
For
one.
me, yeah.
Also, the last question, but not finished. So, what do you advise to foreigners who want to learn Bulgarian, who want to come to Bulgaria? What's your advice to them?
It's interesting question.
Yeah.
To be brave and to try. Of everything, language, culture, traveling, and yeah, have to have fun. We are a really good country with good language.
Okay, my advice in learning Bulgarian is to find a good friend who is local and to keep contacting and to contact as much locals as you can. Try hearing them speaking, hearing them being around you and so on. And these people can really help you to learn the language, because if you're learning language in a local community, it's much more easier than if you try to learn it in somewhere else. So contacting and keep speaking with friends, it's the most helpful thing.
That's good.
What I experienced was when I was trying to learn Bulgarian here, was that, or any Slavic language for that matter, is that because the alphabet is completely different, you have to forget how to read and write and then just relearn that. And that is a very difficult task. And I think that applies to, I think, any language. If you have like knowledge of the Latin alphabet and then you want to, say, learn kanji or something in Japan, I think you just have to forget everything, relearn it. And like you were saying before, just willingness to speak, confidence, because you have to just be brave and go out there and expose yourself to people.
Yeah. I would actually add on the same point. For me, it was scary actually. Despite the adventure, it was scary that these are a whole different set of alphabets, and H is not H, N is reverse, R is reverse, and everything was really scary. And double K, and then there's like a W with a tail. I'm like, oh my god, what is this? But I made it like my mission to know how to read, because then I could easily pronounce the word and search for it and know what it meant. And for me, it's easier to learn like that, because then you don't forget. If you put an effort to read a word and search and translate, okay, sometimes Google Translate is not the most honest application, but it will get you somewhere close to what you want to say, and it's going to be harder for you to forget that word because you put an effort into it. So I would advise that.
Just to add to what you were saying, since you read everything phonetically, once you learn how to read, then you know how to pronounce all the words, and then you can just learn the words. So it's very easy to expand your vocabulary that way.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think it's very important, if you're really serious about learning Bulgarian, start with Cyrillic.
Oh, and always do your homework on time.
Very true. Very
don't
true.
do it last minute, like me, because every time I do it last minute, I'm like, I could have known this by now. But if you go back regularly, you catch up really quick.
Yeah.
Which I don't do, but I plan to. So yeah.
They all say if you want to win something, the best advice is not from the winner; it's from the one who failed.
Very true. So.
Yeah, so far we have come to the end of our discussion, and I would like to thank you all, Bragadaria, and have a nice day. Thank you, people. This is the end of our podcast after a very effective discussion. So with the sponsorship of European Commission, I would like to thank you for listening, and please leave a comment below about the topic and podcast in general, and also follow us on social media like Facebook, Instagram and Twitter with the name Open Space Foundation, and please don't forget to subscribe. It was me, your presenter, Ayubu Mbarazi. Ciao.
The project is carried out thanks to the financial support of the European program Erasmus Plus K-Action 2 Capacity Building in the Field of Youth.
Shukran.
Благодаря.
Coi.
谢谢。
Děkuju.
Tak. Bedankt.
Thank you.
Salamat.
Kiitos.
Merci.
Danke.
Ευχαριστώ.
Toda. Dhanyavad. Köszönöm.
Makasih.
Grazie.
Arigato.
감사합니다.
Tak.
Merci. Dziękuję.
Obrigada.
Спасибо. Gracias. Asante.
Tak.
Khop-kun.
Teşekkürler. Cảm ơn. Now you can say thank you in 31 different languages.